Hi Kushi, good evening.
Hello, good evening, ma'am.
Hi Srishti, good evening.
Hi, good evening. Great to meet you both and really happy to be here.
Likewise, it's an honor. Yes. Wait for maybe 2 more minutes. They're still candidates are still joining. So anyway, we are live on YouTube, but I thought that we'll wait for 2 more minutes and then we'll begin.
Sure, that's fine. So I'll
Great.
just kind of be here and
Yeah.
just let me know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure, sure. I'm also here. And I think the message is now being circulated already. I think most of them are joining. So give me a second. I'll just quickly check. Great. We have a considerable number. Let's begin. Okay, hi everyone. Good evening and welcome. Really glad to have you all here today again. So, quick context for anyone who's joining us for the first time. This is the last webinar of Full Circle, a four-part webinar series organized by the Department of English at St. Xavier's College, Jaipur. The whole idea behind it was pretty simple. Where can an English degree take you? Maybe a lot further than what people usually assume. So, over the last three sessions, we got three people who have built really different, really interesting careers out of their love for language, literature, and in academia, publishing, communication training, and digital work. And today's session, titled What No One Tells English Students About Getting Published, with Miss Srishti Chaudhary, also known as Death of the Author, a really cool username, is a session we have been looking forward to. So, just a minute on who we are for anyone who is not familiar with us. We, the Department of English, was established in 2010 at St. Xavier's College, Jaipur. We added our postgraduate program in the year 2014, and since then, we have built a space that really centers around literature and creative expression. We are also a recognized research center under the University of Rajasthan. Currently, we have 10 PhD scholars working with us. Our PG students have also picked up gold medals quite consistently over the years, which we are truly proud of. Outside the classroom, our students get to express themselves through INCA, our annual literature festival, and Proscenium, our theatre event, where they actually bring literary texts on stage. And being a Jesuit institution, we hold on to the spirit of magis, which signifies always pushing for more depth, more compassion, and more excellence. And Full Circle really comes from that same place, using whatever reach we have to show students just how far this discipline can take them. Okay, so with that out of our way, let's get today's session started. Our speaker today, Srishti Chaudhary, is the author of the best-selling novels A Shimla Fair, Lullan Sweets, and Once Upon a Curfew. She researches Indian literature and teaches creative writing at a university in Germany. She has also written several short stories and articles published by the BBC, Huffington Post, National Geographic, Hindustan Times, and Juggernaut. She studied creative writing at the University of Edinburgh and spends her time between Delhi, her home city, and Germany. She loves to hear from other writers, readers, and exciting people of all kinds, and we are really glad to have her here today. Welcome, ma'am.
Hi, thank you so much for having me here. Always a pleasure to meet like young students and see their love for books and literature, and really happy to talk about these things with you all. I wish I could be there in person because then I could actually see who's there. Now I can't see that at all. But yeah, I hope that we can make that happen soon.
Definitely, someday soon for sure, Ms. Chaudhary. Also, let's now get into the main part of today's session. So, this webinar, which is the last webinar of Full Circle series, is going to be slightly different as Ms. Chaudhary is going to be in an interactive Q&A with Ms. Khushi Parikh, who will also moderate the Q&A. So, Ms. Parikh is a final year MA English Literature student at St. Xavier's College, Jaipur, and an avid reader and with a keen interest in contemporary fiction, classics, and world literature. She also runs a Bookstagram account where she shares book reviews and recommendations, fostering conversations around reading and literature. Beyond books, she's a passionate musician and is also passionate about language learning. She also enjoys exploring the intersections of culture, storytelling, and communication. And today, she'll be moderating the session and engaging in conversation with Ms. Chaudhary on the publishing industry and the world of books. So let's get started. Khushi, over to you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for this wonderful introduction. And I won't keep everyone waiting, and we'll just begin with the first question, which comes from Abipsa Das from Ramadevi Women's University, Odisha. And she wants to know, how does one start by writing her first book and take creative writing and learn creative writing as a craft in itself?
Okay, so very like we start with the basics, I guess. I guess you learn it like you would learn any other thing. Like let's say if you wanna learn how to play a piano, you would just pick up a piano and start to like fiddle with it, start to play and start to get your feel around the whole thing. And at some point you'll think, oh, I wanna like actually play a song. So you will try to like mimic a song, or you will look up things on YouTube, or you would like hire a teacher, or you would do some things around it. And I think that writing is a craft like anything else. So let's say, if you were a dancer, you would start to dance on your own, and you would just start to do it. So I guess like one could say it's just like start, and like start to write down, for example, ideas. Or if something, people tend to write when they see something or hear something, or something happens to them that really makes them feel moved. And they maybe try to write it in a journal, or as a poem or something. And I guess like there's nothing special about in the way in how we start to write. We just do it. And of course, like every writer has their own journey, and some go through like creative writing schools, some don't, many don't. Many people learn on their own, by reading other books, which I think is the most important thing to do. And many people spend years and years trying to like learn it in a very craft way. So there's no standard answer to this, except that like you can, like one thing to like learn how to like write is like read. Because if you don't read, then how will you know how to write? Because you don't read yourself. And also just like do it, like write to start. And yeah, the rest will come on its own.
So what that means is you just need to sit down and start at a point and take that idea and write something around it. So
Yeah.
amazing. Now the next question is from Deshna Shrivastava from Jamshedpur Women's University. She wants to know, what internships, sample work, and skills do publishers like Penguin actually look for from classroom to Penguin's bookshelf, and what needs to be the skill set one needs to possess to get into publishing?
So to work there. Right. I mean, I guess like the biggest skill set would be to like be interested in books. So a lot of people might want to work there because it's like fancy, or you think they're free books or something. But I think the biggest thing is that you should have an interest in books, and you should know about books. You should have a deep like love for literature. And of course, like after that, if you have any other skills that you've built over the years, for example, you're a very good like reader, that means that you would be able to spot like mistakes. So you would like be able to proofread quite well. So you could like start to intern in like editing or proofreading. Or on the other hand, if you have an eye for like what makes books stick, and you're like always online on like Bookstagram and stuff, then you could mention that. You could say, oh, hey, I run a Bookstagram account. This is how I talk about books, which means that, you engage with books and you have a deep interest in them, that you take time out from your life to talk about them. I guess these are the fundamentals. Like, of course, you can add in, I did literature, I did this, I did that, but without like a love for books, like why would you want to work there? Because it's not particularly paying so well that then you'd rather put your energy somewhere else. So yeah, I guess being excited about books, and at the same time having a way with words, like being good at language. These would be the main things.
Ma'am, that actually brings me to my next question. Most of us, most of the audience here watching are mostly freshers, and they want to know how a fresher breaks into publishing when every job they in the description they ask for years of experience, and like interning also requires certain skills that we talked about. So how does a fresher get around that? Uh,
I was not aware that internships need to have experience in the CV. But I guess it would be like anything else, you know, there's like so much competition about everything, and there's so much people for the same spot. So I guess if you like reach out to the right people, then make sure that your enthusiasm for what you want actually stands out. I get a lot of like requests like, oh hey, I want to review your book and this and that, let's say. And a lot of people don't even bother to write the book name. They just copy the message straight from ChatGPT and send it to like 20 people, and I guess no one will get back to you in that way. Same with like jobs. If you're just like making something from ChatGPT and sending a mass mail to 10 publishers, I doubt any of them would get back. But if you genuinely craft a good email saying that this is what I love about it, and this is why I want to work there, and I'm doing this and this, and this is what I can bring to the team, I'm sure that anyone who reads that would feel like they want you, right? They want good people to be on their team. So why would they not want you if you're actually willing to work, but willing to work in a very genuine way? And yeah, I guess like make it stand out and try to reach out to people in the right areas. I think now there's like so many avenues. Yeah.
So I
So I
think
think
if you just be yourself, be authentic, send out what you really feel to the people out there, they do notice you and they do look
I
at.
think so. And also like not sound spammy or like not sound AI. Like that's very boring to read. And because if for example someone sends an email which is sounding very generic and AI, what is the guarantee that they will put any effort into the work that they do as well, right? Like your application is a way to shine, is a way to like stand out and say like this is what I'm good at. And you know, really, so if you, for example, find an opportunity with Penguin, then just really make sure that you're talking to Penguin and you're not talking to like 10 other places of the same, have the same male body for them. I think that's something really important, but that goes for everything in life. You know, people will only kind of get in touch with you and so on if they see that you're genuinely interested. And of course, like if any of you want to work in books and so on, please write to me too. I have a bunch of opportunities for people.
I did actually fill a form.
Oh, really? Okay, yeah. I'm gonna I'm gonna fill the form out again. Not just me, but I know like authors who
Mhm.
need people to like work on,
Yes.
and
Mhm.
especially like young, like Gen Z people
Mhm.
who like work on their social media and all. Yeah.
So moving on, ma'am. So Snigdha Shukla from Hemavati Nandan Bahuguna Gharwal University, she wants to know your journey. So as a novelist, researcher, and teacher, what habits and decisions helped you balance creative fulfillment with professional success? What's your most important lesson? That's what she wants to know. And I think all of us.
I would say, for example, I mean, I'm not sure that I get the question entirely, but I think like if I just speak a little bit about like what how it went down with me, I think that would answer it. So basically, I am doing this because I have a deep love for books, and I really love to write, and I love to read, and that kind of sustained me over time, even when it seems like things don't work out, because um, then you don't give up even when it doesn't, you know, kind of because you want to do it anyway. Like I wanna write that book anyway because I want to tell that story anyway, and I really really hope that it works out and that it gets published and people read it and people buy it and they love it. But that all comes after I already told the story that I wanted to tell. And I'm doing it out of at first I'm doing it out of the love for like storytelling that I have, and because it's a way for me to express myself. So I think for me, it was never like any doubt about, whether I should do this or not. Because I always wanted to do it. And at some point, I just started to like work on it and just kept on doing it, although there were many times when it didn't work out and so on. And then be sure that I think, like, as you asked, like, what's your learning and so on, I think one could say that we can be sure that there will be points, many, many points, where it won't work out. So you can't rely on like this external validation. Although that's important. Like it feels great and it tells you that you're on the right track. But the motivation for it should come from within. So, if you're like not sure that this is something you want to do or so, which is fine, then you should do something else which is more, let's say, practical and like works out well for you. But if like this kind of love has chosen you, then you don't have a choice anyway, then you kind of go for it. So if there's something that you feel very strongly and deeply about, then I would say you will do it. And whatever comes of it, everyone has their own kind of journey. You never know if you will get success in it and what do you even define it as. But the important part is that you enjoy the journey to it, which is like the writing part of it and getting to do what you love so much and finding time for it. So, yeah, if you focus on that part, sometimes the results also work out.
So the next question will be from my end, just to break off with the serious things that we're talking about, the publishing industry and everything.
Yeah.
So I would personally want to know that all the three novels that you've written are set in the 90s. So are you planning to write something for like, this for this era, for 2020, 2020,
Yeah.
2030s? Are you onto
Yeah.
something? Are you cooking
All of
something?
them are actually set in the 1900s. I
Yeah,
think that's
1900s, yeah.
that's
Yeah,
what you
40s and 90s.
Yeah, I mean, why, like, never say never. Why not? Like, why would I? But so far, I found like themes which were very, like, which kind of moved me. I wanted to, like, set them in that time. I
Mhm.
somehow gravitated towards historical fiction. It was a way for me to, like, rewrite history from the woman's
Mhm.
point of view.
Mhm.
And I chose, let's say, Lull and Sweet. It's set in the 90s because I grew up in the 90s and I have such fond memories of that time. And the book was a way for me to kind of like relive my childhood in a way. And the 1940s I chose for a Shimla affair because it's like this pre-independent time, and it like made for a very exciting plot. I had always heard of like, let's say, Gandhi, Nehru, people like that who fought for the freedom of India, and I wanted to ask like, what if three women,
Reunion.
so they just at home doing nothing, like they must have been doing things as well. So yeah, I tried to reimagine it from like their point of view, and yeah. But I do write like some short fiction as well, and that could easily be contemporary. But what I don't like is sometimes including technology in my work. Like that's annoying, which is like I'm on my phone all day. When I'm reading a book, I don't want to hear of people being on their phone. This is something that you're escaping when you're trying to read. So it just feels a bit like icky and it feels a bit like off, and I don't want people to be on apps and stuff.
Now, I think this particular reason suits the question the best. That why you're not writing something which is
Yeah,
based on the contemporary era or something like that. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
definitely. I was a total giggle mug while I was reading Lalan Sweets. I completed in like 3.5 hours, 4 hours, and I was like this entire journey. I took this entire journey with them, and I loved it.
It's so good to hear that.
So the next question, moving on, the next question is from Amrita Das from St. Xavier's College, Kolkata, and she wants to know What should a writer know before entering into publishing? What challenges come before and after publishing a book? And how do you effectively promote a book? And I think nobody else would be able to answer the marketing part better than you, like how we see you post on Instagram and promoting books and everything. So,
Right. Yeah. Challenges. I mean, it's full of challenges. There's so many of them. Um, I guess like a very big challenge is to first get published, like, get someone excited about your story, about your book. I think this is, of course, the biggest hurdle, which is in place for someone trying to transition from like being a writer to an author. Um, so finding the right literary agents, finding publishers, convincing them that your book is worth being published, so on. This is a big challenge, and there are like ways to go through it, and the ways to like pitch your books. But of course, the odds are like quite long. Um, but I think publishers easily would get 100 to 150 manuscripts in a month, I would say. So I don't. I think they would just choose one or two from them, or let's say one single editor has about 13 to 15 books that come out in a year, but they get so many submissions throughout the year that the odds are like maybe even harder than trying to crack the UPSC, um, or like NEET. And yeah, so that's just how it is. I mean, nothing can be changed about that from our side. And when it comes to marketing, um, I mean, there are many ways to go about it as well. So let's say someone wrote a non-fiction book. They are in that way already a personality who's established in one particular field. So people actually want to listen to them, to hear their thoughts on, let's say, food and nutrition. If someone is like a nutritionist, so people do it like through all kinds of ways. They might have a newspaper article out to like get a buzz going around the book. They might post a lot on social media. Then there are ways to, kind of just people do book tours, they go and sign books. Then there is, let's say, someone writes poetry and their book is out about that. Then what I've seen now is like people post a lot on like Instagram. They're like little snippets of like their poem to get people interested in like what they write. So I think a mix of all of this, um, and to like keep doing it really helps in the long run of marketing. And this is something that every author now is told that they should do. And but I would still say that the core of it, the like what is the most important bit of it is like writing something good and writing something amazing, working on your craft, because in the end everything in the world does work the best with like word of mouth. So let's say I do like a great marketing plan, but I have a terrible book. You all will read it, but you will tell your friend, please don't read this book, I made a mistake, you don't do that, and then they will never pick up that book because everyone goes on recommendations and so on. So if you write a great book, even if 10 people love it, they will make 10 other people read it, just like you told me. Um,
yeah,
so
exactly.
I think the biggest marketing plan is having a great product. And then, of course, it's like
Mhm.
all the embellishment on it.
Half of the work is done if you write a good book.
Absolutely.
So I think
Yeah.
that, yeah. So we have like 5 to 7 more minutes left for that. So the one question is from June from FLU Hyderabad, and she wants to know how to get into publishing, which is again, but like how do you begin it? Like really from the very beginning, because from school, let's say from school, you start preparing for it from because a few of us we are into this reading habit from since we were very young. So from school to then college and then your post graduation and then eventually getting into the workforce? Like, can you give us a clear roadmap to how to
I
do
mean,
the things?
uh, I guess this is one of the professions which don't really have a clear roadmap. Like, if you were to study medicine, then you would obviously become a doctor, or if you were to go for law, you would become a lawyer, and then you would be placed at law firms and so on. This is not the case for publishing and journalism. So, like anything else, if you, for example, do the course, if you were to do like a journalism course, of course, like you would like stand out more for like media who are looking for like young journalists and so on, um, because you've done that and you have had a certain training in like how to go about this. Same with publishing. I think that if, for example, you have done a course in English, then they know that you love books. Like you did it for 3 years, it means that you must have liked books enough to taken it for 3 years, and you're more likely to meet people who are working in like similar fields. But I think educationally, there's nothing that they teach you that you would have to use at a publishing house. So as long as you can demonstrate a love for books, a love for stories, reading, and so on, I think you still stand a good chance. But of course, like anything else, having a major in that is a plus. So if you go for English, if you go for like, I don't think there's like a publishing bachelor's, but there might be like these publishing masters somewhere, or which I you don't even need because you mostly get the learn the job while you're in it. But it demonstrates that you're interested in it. So I would say if you really want to work only in publishing, then go for an English bachelor's. And from there on, just try to do a bunch of internships in these areas. And this would automatically mean that like you have a much greater head start in this for getting a job in this field.
And ma'am, how does one continue writing while they're getting their books published, and what routine can they follow while while their books are out there, they're marketing for their books, and like what is the daily routine like a few writers can follow to get their next book out
I mean,
soon?
that is the $1 million question. I think every writer in the world is struggling to find time to actually write. That's all they want to do, and that's all they don't do. Um, but I guess this is just like you have to do you. So let's say that you work a job, you work a day job, and you have to leave for work at like 9 or 10 in the morning. And if you really burn for a story and really want to write, I would say like 2 times a week you get up early at and you write. If this is the time of your day where you're most fresh, or you come back home in the evening and give some time to it after dinner, take these 2 hours. I think you, of course, like it's like a kind of like a thing which is not your main thing, so you have to find time for it. And I do give up a lot. Like I feel like I don't have any hobbies because I don't do anything else except this. So you give up sometimes meeting friends or like going out on the weekends, or but like that's what I mean. You've got to really like doing it, because then it won't feel like you're giving up having a fun time. Still it feels like that, but less so than if
Then
you
it
don't.
won't feel like you're working at all. You're just hanging
Yeah.
out with yourself, writing your thoughts and everything.
Yeah, and of course there has to be a conscious way to like find time for it. I think now it's super cool. Like you can go to like a cafe, make a whole thing from it, get a nice notebook, make your notes, take it, and say these 2 hours are for this only.
Get a
No
nice
other,
coffee
you
to
know.
accompany to keep you awake.
Yeah. And you have gone there specifically to do this one thing. You're not at
Mhm.
home like in front of the TV trying to, So
Mhm.
you could try that. And once you're in the story a lot, you're excited about it, and you start to or send it to people. Let's say you write 2 chapters, you send it to other people, and they give you feedback. This encourages you mostly because you feel like someone is reading it and it's not just you on your own
Mhm.
writing and writing. So I think this is a good way to like keep sharing your progress with people who actually care about you. what you write.
Yeah, I think that would be a key takeaway from today's session, that you just send it out to two, three people that you really trust, and they read it out and they give you a proper feedback. So you keep
Absolutely.
writing. That's a supportive cycle that goes
I
on
can keep
throughout
going
your
on.
journey.
Yeah.
Um, Ma'am, the last question would be from Akashi Arora from Delhi University. She wants to know how financially rewarding is a career in English language teaching and communication training, or in publishing, or like how does that go? How does that work?
I mean, publishing, communication, journalism, all this kind of stuff is not like super well paid. I
Mhm.
mean, of course, if you work in like a corporate, let's say, and they want you to write like or if they want you to develop like a communication policy or something, I guess it's different. But that's not like completely creative work. I think it's for sure less paid than a profession like being a lawyer. But of course, for them too, for the first few years, they have to grill a lot. Um, or I don't know if you're like a consultant or if you're in banking, or of course here in India, if you're like a techie, you will find far more stable jobs because they are so much more funded. So much money is thrown at like AI startups now. Whether they have any result or not, it's a different thing. But they are like very well funded, which means that they can pay the people who work for them. So of course, you will not get rich for sure. But that's how it is with like a lot of creative professions, especially if you do, for example, if you want to be an actor, you go to Bombay, you start to do acting, you start to do some modeling, this and that. A lot of people won't make it, but some of them will make it so good that they might be like super, rich, or like doing really, because you asked about the money, or like doing really really well. So I guess these are the odds for it. And if that is something that you can live with, then sure. And many authors, what they do is they write their books, but they have a day job. Either they're like a professor, or they work like a corporate job. If you've heard of Frida McFadden, now this big time like thriller author, she recently revealed that she's a brain surgeon because no one knew her real identity. So, how is it that she's doing brain surgeries and also writing these massive bestsellers? Um, so many people just like are able to do both. Kind of all depends on how you decide to like live. If you need money, then you have to work in something else. But if you have a passion for it, then you will find time for it. Um, yeah, I guess that would be my 2 cents.
That was a really good topic that you told us about, and I think we'll all carry this after today's seminar. And um, I think we've all really manifested this seminar, and how the audience actually wanted to know, with all the questions that we received today. I think everybody wanted to know this journey, and
Yeah.
how you are doing what you're doing right now
Thank you so much.
with the amazing books that are out.
I know I'm not always helpful because when someone asks me how do you write, I don't know. I have to say just do it. Like, there's nothing beyond that for me because I want to write, then I write. But I know that, it's kind of, this is the obstacle, and still this is the easiest part, which is like just do it.
Now that we've heard it from you, that we just need to sit somewhere and start writing something, I think coming from a more authentic voice, we'll register it in our brains, yeah, and we'll actually start writing and follow it. So I
Yeah.
think, um, thank you so much for this beautiful interaction, and I'll just hand it over to Unnati ma'am right now.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Kushi. I can see Kushi's eyes gleaming with joy. She has had the moment of her life.
I have manifested this like 2 years ago. I was randomly at the Delhi Book Fair, and very accidentally I picked up Lalan Sweets, and got to know that it was signed by you. And I think you were there a day ago or some time, like hours ago, and I randomly picked it up. So I think I've manifested this over the years, and I'm really
So
happy.
thrilled. Yeah, I hope that I get to see you there the next time. I'm there at the fair normally. And yeah,
Definitely, definitely. I think I missed you last year also, but this year maybe, but definitely next year
yes,
or somewhere in Jaipur we will host you
I'm
maybe.
very interested. I would love to come. Yeah, it's now such a literary city.
Yes, exactly.
Wow, great. And Miss Chaudhary, before I give you a formal vote of thanks or even start, is there anything that you want to like put out there for any budding writer, any personal, any anecdote that you think will help people cross the writing block, anything that you want to share?
I would say that everyone asks me this each time. I tell every time the same thing, which is like I think there are just two ways to like write and actually succeed in writing. Which is one, which is to read a lot, like read, read, read. Never stop doing that. I would never trust an author who says I like to write but I don't read, because why would you
Right,
like to do something that you don't even enjoy on your own, So, yeah, read a lot because that's the best way to learn how to write. And at the same time, write a lot. Like, don't like hold back thinking that it needs to be really good or it needs some kind of like shower of like validation. I think everyone starts by like just doing it, and you will always you have your whole life to learn it. So keep learning and keep writing and keep doing it, and you only learn by doing it. So yeah, just these two things. And of course, like I'm very active on Instagram. I share like kind of my background and like how I came up with certain things and so on. So I love to go like this behind the scenes part. So feel free to follow me there. You can share my socials and so on, and I will always
sure.
talk about there.
I have two questions for you. You can maybe answer them in a very short manner if you want. First
Yeah,
of all, first question: do you think in you becoming a writer, there has been any, even a minute role of you studying English as a course? Because that will weave the entire, like the thread that we are following through this webinar series, that where can
right.
your English degree actually take you? So, do you want to like have 2 cents on it?
Absolutely. I think personally, for me, it has had a great role to play. I always loved books in school, so that's why I went for English. And I was at LSR, and there we had a great department. We had great teachers, and on the first day of school, on the first day of class, actually, one of my favorite teachers there said to all of us, and I think she says this each time, is that once you're done with these 3 years, you'll never be able to watch a film or read a book in peace. You will always try to like dissect it and analyze it, and it's true. Like I'm always doing that. So like having this kind of critical, analytical thinking, which is I feel like the real value of education itself. Like you don't have to learn a code or something, because that you do on the job anyway. The real value of like education is actually being critical and solving problems and being analytical. So all of this really helps when you do English literature, which helps you everywhere in life, like in every job, but very much so in like what I do, which is to write books. And at the same time, it fostered like a very deep love for books for me. And I think like I can't imagine having done anything else. I think it was the best decision I ever took, and I never had any doubts about it when I took it. But the fact that we had like a good study program also really helped in like making the best of it. And I guess it's the same for you guys, because if you are passionate enough to organize these talks, then I'm sure that you love the subject too and teach it with the same enthusiasm. Yeah, I guess it really, really helped for me that I did this, because if I had, for example, gone for like engineering because I really want to be stable or I want a job, no, I might not have found enough time for books, which would maybe it would have stayed like a dream in my mind that okay, this is what I love to do when I was in school. but I didn't give that time to it, which means that I never worked on it.
Got it. That's such a nice answer, and I think that binds the entire fraternity together. I think anyone who has ever studied literature at any point of life, I think they'll relate to this. It just opens your
Absolutely.
mind. It gives you so many avenues to think. It just broadens your horizon, and you never see the world the same again.
Yeah, yeah.
So you
And
become a misfit for a good reason, I feel.
for a good reason. Yeah. And I have to say, I have met so many people who have studied English, so many over the years. I haven't met a single one who said, I regret that I did that. Whereas I meet so many people who do something else and they say, why did I choose that? Or, I should have done this or that, which says something, right?
Right. I Roger, definitely. Such a nice thought, and I think it binds us all together. One question I received very recently on my DM to ask you, what are the books you have recently read and you have loved?
Right. Okay. So recently, have to think back. Oh yeah, I read these like two super interesting thrillers. One was called. I don't normally read them, but somehow it happened that I did. I read a book called In the Woods. It's by Tana French. It's like a thriller, but it's a literary thriller. So it's got a very beautiful language. At the same time, there's like a mystery to it. There's a thrilling part of it. There's a cop, and they need to solve something, and it has a very like eerie kind of feeling to it. If you can imagine these British shows with these gloomy towns where it rains all the time and there's been a murder, and it was a very nice book. And another one that I read is called God of the Woods. It's an American one. It's a also a thriller, also about a kid who goes missing in a forest, but written with several perspectives and timelines, so you're like quite lost there. But despite the fact that it's so fragmented, it's very hooking, which I think is very hard to do. So I
Wow.
enjoyed these two. Yeah.
Thanks for that candid answer. And the last question of this webinar series. So, since the day I followed you, I want to know what is the story behind you choosing the username Death of the Author. Obviously, all the literal, significance and I know the story, like the logical reason behind it, but I want to know your reason behind it.
I have the same. So when I was in college, I read too much Barthes then, and I loved this like whole idea of death of the author, and I guess I wanted to be different as every other teenager back then. I thought, oh, I'll keep this my name, but I just kept it on because it kind of signified for me that once you write a book and it's out in the world, it belongs to the world. And anything that I meant by it, or like, no, but I didn't mean that, I meant this, or anything that was my intention is not as significant as like what the reader makes of it. So once a book is out in the world, it's the death of the author and the birth of the reader. Yeah, so I like that and I just kept it.
Great. I think I found my answer. I understood that that's how you have, it's Parts doing his thing, but
Yeah.
I wanted to know the reason behind it. Thank you so much, Ms. Chaudhary. And I want to thank you on the behalf of the management and the Department of English at St. Xavier's College, Jaipur. We extend our sincere gratitude to you. And it was a truly enlightening session. It was so candid that made it even more worthy. And you gave our students a rare and an honest look at the world of publishing, and your perspective on internships and maybe the literary and the publishing world were really valuable for all the students and for all the other candidates who are just beginning to think about what comes after a degree in English. And we
Right.
are grateful for your time, your openness, and the generosity with which you shared your path. And sessions like these remind us why full circle exists, and it concretely and convincingly shows that our disciplines leads somewhere real.
Yeah.
And I want to thank you again, and I hope this is one of the first of the many conversations of you with
Absolutely.
our department. We really would look forward to hosting you in person, and I hope you had a great time talking to us.
Thank you so much. That's so kind. And it was a pleasure to be here. And thank you for the wonderful questions. And yes, I have to agree. It really helps, like meeting people who are out there in the field doing the thing that you're studying, and really shows you the many ways that you can take from having studied English. So, yeah, it was a pleasure to show this side and hope to see you all soon in person.
Thank you so much, Khushi, and thank you so much, Ms. Chaudhary. I think all the attendees who were there, and some of them who have delayed it, thinking that it's getting recorded somewhere, they'll watch it later. So whoever sees this anytime, I think it's an asset for anyone entering the publishing world in India, or just thinking about creative writing as a career. So thank you so much again, Khushi, for moderating it so well, and thank you, Ms. Chaudhary, for being here.
Thank you both. Thank
Thank
you.
you so much. Have a great evening.
Have a good evening. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.